Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Planet Therapy. Remember, this is a space where we have essential conversations to do with self love, well being, and also belonging. Today, I've actually got my Planet Essentials t shirt. Like, it's really cool. Make sure you grab it. It's in different colors. And that's just a little note, FYI thing. But what I wanted to talk to you guys today is actually all about control. And I feel like I'm talking a bit about myself because I feel like if you know me or if you've listened to previous episodes, I've definitely spoken about where I'm someone where I just like to make sure I have control over as much things as possible. And it used to stress me out. And especially about things that like I realized I had no control over, if that makes sense. So bit of examples, I feel like sometimes I'd have get-togethers. And as much as I would love everyone to have fun, it felt like I had to police everyone's fun because I just like, oh my God, is everyone having fun? Are they doing this? I read people's facial expressions like, oh, if they're looking a bit down, I'm like, okay, no, we need to do this, we need to do that. And it used to kind of sometimes drive me a bit crazy because I'm just like, because I realized I can't control other people or what they're feeling or thinking, it just heightened my anxiety even more. And when I looked back and reflected about it, I was like, oh, maybe sometimes I use control as a way to like manage my own anxiety because I feel like, I don't know, it can't just be just me. I feel like there's been certain situations where it's like you want to understand where someone's coming from, or you have, let's say, your own idea or something. And if it doesn't align with what you think, then you kind of act on it just to make sure that you can control what's going on around you. But when I did some research about it, scientists actually link people that are, let's say, like to be in control, to link that with anxiety management. And it kind of leads them, if they can't control their own emotions or someone else's emotions, etc., they like to control the environment around them. And when I thought about that, I was like, oh, that actually makes so much sense because I'm someone where it's like, I hate uncertainty. Like if I make plans to meet up with somebody, and for me, I'd rather you cancel so I know rather than you'll give me wishy-washy answers, because then it's like I don't know what's happening. Or when you got friends or colleagues or etc. where they're just always late. And my thing is, if you're late, fine, because I can then plan ahead of you being late. But you ignoring my calls, ignoring my messages because you don't want to be told off because you're late, it infuriates me so much more because I'm just like, I could actually plan to do X, Y, Z to make sure that I'm fine. So yeah, there's just been so many instances where when I lack control, it just makes me feel really flustered. And it's obviously being in control is very important to make sure that you have an idea of what's going on around you and you can plan certain things like steps ahead. However, there's so many instances in life where it's like it's beyond our control and we have to kind of learn to accept and adapt and move on. And I guess why I say that is because I've been in so many different periods where I'd be in a job and be like, okay, great, this is what I'm doing, especially when I was working in sales. But sometimes you can't control the market. So it's like, as much as you have a certain regime of ways of doing things, something in the environment or something that you literally cannot have any say over can come and change your plans. And it's so important to learn that, or learn how to adapt when those situations may happen. Otherwise, you're kind of just going to be left to kind of sink or swim. And I think that was something that I had to really grow and develop within myself, because I feel like when there was times, because I used to suffer a lot from like anxiety attacks, and they usually came about when I felt I was under so much high pressure, and I would try so many different methods to kind of like fix it or find a resolution. But it was like I was forcing myself to do things that it just wasn't in my season at that point. For example, like let's say looking for jobs. I might, as much as I can do, apply for jobs, fix up my CV, go for interviews, etc., etc. There's nothing I could do, like in terms of like past that, in terms of it's like I can't go to the managers office, I'd be like, take me, because they would call me crazy and they'd throw me out. So it's just like some things you just have to leave to the universe to decide for you. And being comfortable with that is honestly the next step, where it's hard because, again, there's so many situations that we could just be involved in and we don't actually want it. Like, we don't want this outcome right now. So it's like we might do everything within our power to kind of just change the outcome. But maybe you're actually missing the message. Maybe you're missing what you meant to learn from something that's beyond your own scope. And what I mean by that is because we only can control based on things that we know. But there's a million and one things that we actually don't know. So we have to kind of learn to pause, take in what this season is telling me or what the situation is telling me, and then learn how to adapt and grow. And that's such a key thing to learn, where it's just like, okay, great. When you're because you then realize you're developing your ability to be self-aware. And for me, myself, that's hard because I'm such an impatient person. So if I feel like there's just arbitrary deadlines, or I don't know how someone's thinking and feeling because they struggle with communication, it just irks my brain. But then I had to learn, I'm still learning, but I had to learn how to be like, okay, great. I don't know what's going on here. So what am I going to do from my own head to kind of just learn to calm myself down, not get so anxious, accept that situation, and then move past it? Because that way you kind of learn how to manage anxiety and you kind of learn how to manage things that are beyond what's going on in a more healthier way. One other point that I feel like I notice is that, especially with myself, is like, okay, I knew that sometimes when it comes to control, it comes from me being anxious. You kind of have to ask yourself that hard question, what am I anxious about? Or what am I fearing? Because then it can open a lot of different possibilities for you to actually be like, me trying to over understand someone's thoughts or feelings, whether it be like I'm dated them or a friend, and I don't understand why they're going about something, and I'm trying to then fix it. Where is this coming from? Because am I scared of like the relationship ending? Am I scared of, let's say, if you want to relate it in, let's say, a job sort of scenario, it could go on where it's like your manager, you might have to be asking your manager X, Y, Z, or you are a manager and you're always asking your staff, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. And you're kind of becoming like micromanaging your staff members. What are you actually scared of? Are you scared that you don't think that they're going to be able to are you scared that they're not going to be capable to do their job? Are you scared that you actually don't trust them to do their job that you paid them to do? And it then kind of borders along the line of trust issues when it comes to control, because people that are in control usually do stem to struggle with trust, whether it's within themselves to do something that they don't feel like they're able to do unless they have to have so much hard structure, or that trusting other people in and letting them kind of do their thing. And it's just really interesting to me because I just feel like when you're able to kind of sit down and ask yourself those hard questions, it kind of makes things a little bit more like emptier in your head. So there's less pressure, because when you start listing things that are in your control and what's not within your control, you kind of then have a bit more of self-awareness of what's going on. And then you can kind of learn to be like, okay, this that's not in my control is bothering me because I feel X, Y, Z. And then you can start tackling that avenue so you actually get to the root of the issue, rather than trying to feel like you need to have oversight over everything and then getting annoyed and frustrated when things ain't changing because there's nothing you can actually do. And when you kind of learn to kind of replace, let's say, that element of control, I think it kind of then stems this new feeling of curiosity, because for myself, I feel like when I realized that I have to learn to actually be like, okay, you know what? God, it really is what it is because I can only do what I can do. You kind of then wonder what other possibilities end up happening because there's things that you can't foreshadow. And it's like you end up in a different place than where you thought you would be. And I find like there's so much power to that because, again, like I said before, I feel like as humans, we're only limited to our own experiences. So I feel like when we learn to kind of be open minded enough to kind of understand things from different point of views or positions, you kind of then learn that you can actually build a lot more skills based on things where it's like you had no prior knowledge to, and probably even excel because it's like this is so new to you, and it's like maybe you're meant to be in that position now, rather than something you felt like you was meant to be because you wanted that so badly and you was in that sort of control zone of like, okay, I need to get this, etc., without kind of like broadening your mindset a bit wider so to other possibilities. So I guess it just poses a question. What are you, let's say, what are you fearful about that you feel like you have to have 100% oversight into that isn't working? Do you trust yourself to kind of learn to get yourself out of a dilemma without being so stressful about it? Or another way to phrase that question is, what am I so fearful about that I need to feel like I need to tighten my grip around it? Because again, in life, nothing's promised and nothing is the same. So what I've learned I need to be able to do is actually be able to accept things for what they are sometimes and learn how to pivot. Because when you learn to pivot, then you learn how to have such great acceptance over things. And when you have that, you realize that, oh, you can actually handle 80% of stresses and worries because you allowed yourself to just be free moving with the wind with certain things. And like, oh, okay, great. I know what I can do at this stage, or I don't know what's going on, but I know I can manage. And I feel like when you have that sort of thought processes, it kind of just helps things move a lot easier in life, and it makes you kind of a bit more at peace. So yeah, it's just something for you to think about because I think I only can speak from, again, just from my perspective. I feel like when I've adopted that sort of mindset, I've realized I've been in so much of a peaceful mindset of recently. And I only can really associate that with learning how to just be like, okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen right now. And this is the situation. And this is the limits of where my control can go. So I'm just going to have to just accept what it is and just move within what's within my remit until the season then passes. And yeah, I just feel like life is just so unpredictable. And I feel like when you can grow to accept change for what it is, then you actually get so much further in life and be so much peaceful. And I think that's just a place we all want to be. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I feel like it was a lot, especially even for myself, because I just feel like control is something I really had to learn to let go of. And I feel like I realized since, especially like last year when I had a lot of anxiety attacks and stuff like that, and doing this process of self-love and just accepting change for what it is. Again, it's not easy, but I've realized I've only had one anxiety attack, I think, this year. And I feel like when I had that correlation between, it's because, oh, for a lot of different reasons. But I know one of the main ones is that I just learned how to just be like, you know what? It actually is what it is in a lot of different aspects of my life. And I've just had to then learn to accept what my emotions are. And if I feel off about something and I feel like I need to tighten my grip on something, I ask myself, why is that? And if I feel like it's something that I can't control, then I just listen to what that's telling me a lot more, especially when it comes to other people. It's like there's one saying I say, you can't take paracetamol for someone else's headache. So if someone's giving you a headache because you don't understand what they're trying to tell you, or you just feel confused and there's so much uncertainty, learn when to remove yourself from the situation, regardless of what it is, because you understand that this is becoming too stressful for you and you've asked yourself why, and it's not changing, it's not moving enough. Everything you've done it's not working. So learn when to kind of go with the wind of peace, basically. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, Planet Therapy, and also remember to check out the website, My Planet Essentials. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day, weekend, everything. Stay blessed and peace.